Hello and welcome to another episode of Rebel Rogue, where today I will be showing you how to base coat properly. Rebel Rogue. This is going to be the beginning of a series for beginners that I will be doing on my channel. This series may help some experienced people, but is aimed more towards those of you who are just beginning in the hobby of painting miniatures. Today I will be showing you how to base coat, which is an essential skill whenever you are painting. I will be showing you on this converted Inquisitor model, and I will be showing most of my technique guides on this Inquisitor model, as it is, well, a very good model for showing many different techniques. So, I'll see you soon. Firstly, I will start with a brief explanation of what base coating is. Base coating is merely the process of putting the first layer of paint over the undercoat on a model. In this instance, I've used a zenithal undercoat, which I can do a video on if anyone would like me to go over it, but there are plenty of videos on YouTube already if I don't get round to doing one. A base coat really can be done with any paint, but Citadel sell these base paints. This is Thousand Suns Blue. This is one of the very few Citadel paints I own, but mainly because Vallejo don't do an equivalent. But it is a base paint, meaning it's slightly thicker than a standard paint. Vallejo do these game extra opaque paints, which are similar, but I find that red covers better than most reds I've got, so I like to use it as a base coat for red. You could use any paint you like if you're using Vallejo, but with Citadel I would recommend sticking to base paints, as with layer paints you might not get quite as good a result. To apply the paint, we'll be using a brush of some description. I like to use these easy, cheap Boldmere brushes. This is a size 3. Should be doing the majority of the work on this model, but if there's a larger area I might switch to a size 5. If you wanted to, you could use a flat brush to get into the areas, and if you are stuck with using Citadel brushes, then you could of course use a Citadel base brush. So, I'll see you in a minute and we can get started. To begin, we will want to get our paint, give it a proper shake before putting it on our palette. It's much easier to do in Vallejo bottles. I just put 2 fingers around the top, 1 on the bottom, and then shake like crazy. Shake like your life depends on it. Then when it's nicely shook up, it might take longer with, say, army painter paints, or certain paints just don't mix very well, so if you've got like an industrial mixer it might help. Take our paint, take the lid off, put it on our palette. Today I'm using a wet palette, so I will not need to thin my paint, but if you're not, you can get just a little drop of water on your brush and just mix it into the paint until it's sort of quite smooth, so it's applying quite smoothly. This can be adjusted however you want to. So I'll be painting the cloak on this model red, the inside and the outside. So I'm going to use my size 5. Give it a quick rinse in the water, quickly dab it off on my paper towel, take a little bit of paint, brush, wipe off the excess and apply it like so. It is a bit thin, this, so make it a little bit more, and just, you don't have to be too neat with this. This is just a base coat, and if it's really not covering very well you can do 2 coats. I'm not going to infringe on Duncan Rowe's copyrights, but if you watch any of his videos or the Warhammer TV videos, the classic one is 2 thin coats, which is always useful. If you do a zenithal undercoat, you might see that the undercoat sort of shows through, but this is the idea of a zenithal undercoat, is that it shows through slightly to create the sense of light and dark. For example, the inside of the cloak will be a very different colour to the outside because of where it is. It's in the dark. So yeah. just need to apply it like so in 2 thin coats, as we'd normally do. This skill of base coating will take you very far. You can paint miniatures in flat colour. Nothing that says you can't. You can leave them unpainted or zenithalled, but it just doesn't look very nice. Most people prefer to play with painted miniatures, and if you're painting just for display, you just like to paint, then, well, you're going to be painting, aren't you? This is a very essential skill to have and know how to do. So, yeah, I'll finish this off, apply a second coat if I think it needs it, and I'll see you at the end of the video. I'd like to say a quick apology for the buzz on that last clip, as I managed to forget to take the power cable out of my phone, which means it puts more buzz on it. Sorry about that. I'll try and avoid it in the future. Things to remember when base coating. Just a quick recap of these. Use multiple thin coats. It will give you a nicer, smoother result. Thin your paint slightly, unless you're using a wet palette, in which case it will thin it for you, and you probably know that it does that. Make sure to be... you don't need to be too careful with base coating. Just get it in all the areas you want it. Try to avoid areas you don't want it, but as you can see here, it's not a disaster if you do get it in those places. And, well, just remember that it's one of the most important and basic techniques you will ever learn. So, if you like this video, feel free to leave a like, comment if you have anything to say, whether it's a new video idea or a suggestion of how I could improve, or even, well, just if you just want to say hi. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and if you think that there's someone out there who could really use this video, please share it with them. It will be much appreciated, and I'm sure they'll learn something. So, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.